ask y'all something. If you were about to sit down at the most important negotiating table in the world, a table that could decide whether a war continues or stops, whether people live or die, would you walk in calling the other side dishonest before you even sat down? Because that's what's happening right now. Right now, as we speak. Vice President J.D. Vance just got on a plane to Islamabad, Pakistan. Tomorrow, Saturday, he's supposed to sit across from Iranian officials and negotiate a permanent end to this war. This is supposed to be the moment where all the threats, all the ultimatums, all the Truth Social posts turn into an actual agreement. And you know what Trump did today? While his VP is in the air, he got on social media and called Iran dishonorable. He said they're doing a very poor job of letting oil through the Strait of Hormuz. He posted, and I quote, "That is not the agreement we have." I need y'all to understand how insane this is. Your negotiator is on a plane. He hasn't even landed yet. And you're on social media trashing the people he's about to negotiate with. That's like sending your lawyer to court and then standing outside the courthouse with a megaphone calling the judge a crook. What kind of negotiating strategy is that? And it gets better. You know who Vance is bringing with him? Steve Witkoff and Jared Kushner. Now, if y'all been paying attention, you already know the problem. Iran has publicly, on the record, in front of the entire world, said they do not trust Steve Witkoff. They do not trust Jared Kushner. And why would they? Kushner was the man who led nuclear talks with Iran right before the United States launched the strikes that killed their supreme leader. Think about that. Let that sit in your brain for a minute. We killed their head of state during negotiations that Kushner was leading. And now we're sending Kushner back to negotiate with them. And we're surprised they don't trust us. I ain't a diplomat. I ain't got no fancy degree in international relations, but I got common sense. And common sense tells me that if you want somebody to trust you, maybe don't send the same people who were sitting across the table right before you dropped bombs on their leader. Now, Vance said something before he left. He got in front of the cameras and said, and I'm quoting him exactly, "If they're going to try and play us, then they're going to find that the negotiating team is not that receptive." Not that receptive. You hear that? He's already framing it as them trying to play us before the talks even start, before a single word has been exchanged across that table. The Vice President of the United States is already setting up the excuse for why these talks might fail. It's going to be their fault, not ours, never ours. He also said Trump gave him clear guidelines. Now, nobody's telling us what those guidelines are. Could be anything. Could be reasonable demands. Could be demands so extreme that no country would accept them. We don't know, because the people who work for US, who draw their paychecks from our taxes, won't tell us what the plan is. But I'll tell you who is showing up on the other side. Iran is sending their parliament speaker, Mohammad Bagher Ghalibaf, and their foreign minister, Abbas Araghchi. These are serious people. These are people who've been navigating Iranian politics for decades, and they're walking into a room with a 39-year-old vice president who's never negotiated anything close to this in his entire career, a real estate deal maker and the son-in-law. I'm not saying Vance can't handle it. I'm saying the optics are rough. But here's the part of this story that ain't getting enough attention. And this is the part that really keeps me up at night. There are 6 Americans sitting in Iranian prisons right now. 6. Human beings, American citizens. Moms have kids waiting for them. Dads have families that haven't seen them. The U.S. government itself has classified at least 2 of them, Kamran Hekmati and Reza Valizadeh, as wrongfully detained. That means our own government admits these people should not be in prison. And the Washington Post is reporting that the administration plans to ask for their release as part of these negotiations. Plans to, not demands, not insist, plans to. And here's the kicker. Officials inside the administration are worried that if the broader peace talks get difficult, the hostage issue might get delayed, pushed to the side, shelved, because it could complicate the negotiations. Complicate. 6 Americans are in foreign prisons. Our government says they're there wrongfully, and we might not push too hard for their freedom because it could complicate things? What are we doing? What kind of country leaves its people in a prison cell because asking for them back might make a meeting awkward? Those families are sitting by their phones right now, hoping, praying that somebody at that table in Islamabad says their loved one's name. And there are people in the White House debating whether or not to bother. If that don't make your blood boil, I don't know what will. And let's talk about what's happening here at home while all this is going on. Because the war ain't just happening over there. It's happening in your wallet. Inflation just hit its highest level in 2 years. 2 years. And you know why? Because the war in Iran has jacked up oil prices, which jacks up shipping costs, which jacks up the price of everything you buy at the grocery store. Your eggs cost more because of this war. Your bread costs more. Your gas costs more. And that's not me saying that. That's the economic data. Lawrence O'Donnell said it plain on TV last night. He said Trump is trying to get out of his war without everyone calling it a surrender. And that is what this is really about. That's the truth underneath all the tough talk and the social media posts and the shooting starts threats. Trump started a war he can't finish, and now he's stuck. He can't escalate because the world won't let him. He can't pull out because his base would call it weakness. And he can't negotiate properly because he keeps insulting the people he's supposed to be negotiating with. So what does he do? He sends Vance to Islamabad with Kushner and Witkoff, 2 men Iran doesn't trust, and crosses his fingers. That's the strategy. Hope. Hope in social media posts. That's what's standing between us and the next round of bombs. And somewhere in Tehran, behind walls that most Americans will never see, 6 of our people are sitting in cells, wondering if today is the day somebody comes for them. I want y'all to hold 2 thoughts in your head at the same time, because that's what this moment requires. Thought number 1 is that these talks need to succeed. Whether you like Trump or hate Trump, whether you support this war or oppose it, these talks need to produce something real, because the alternative is more bombs, more death, more $5 gas, and more grief. Thought number 2 is that we have every right to be skeptical, because the people running these talks have given us no reason to believe they know what they're doing. You don't call someone dishonorable and then ask them to shake your hand. You don't send negotiators that the other side publicly distrusts. You don't threaten to start shooting on social media while your VP is on a plane. And you don't treat 6 American prisoners as a complication. None of that is how adults do business. None of that is how you make peace. And none of that gives me any confidence that tomorrow is going to produce anything other than tweets and talking points. But I hope I'm wrong. For once in this whole mess, I genuinely hope I'm wrong. Because there are 6 Americans in cells. There are families in Beirut sleeping in tents. There are sailors on aircraft carriers who want to come home. And they all deserve better than what they're getting. Tell me in the comments, do you think these talks will work? Or is this another photo op? Because Curtis wants to know what y'all are thinking. Subscribe, notifications on. Tomorrow could change everything or nothing at all. And either way, I'll be here. That's Straight Talk. I'm Curtis Banks, and 6 Americans are counting on somebody at that table to say their name.